Hello everyone, Carful here. Been a while since I've done a KOF video. The Winter Wonderland has arrived, the wonderful season that is Christmas, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the events, the fact that Orochi Chris is coming for Christmas as expected, although I hoped it would have been Goenitz with that fuck up they made, but what can you do? But yeah, we're here to talk a little bit about the events, about Chris, about expectations a little bit, about what is to come, and yeah, so overall impressions from the start of the event, which, let's keep in mind, the actual Christmas events don't start until the 22nd, they haven't been revealed yet. So if you're someone who spends money in this game, a dolphin or a whale, the start of this event is exceptionally good. I normally try to limit myself to $50 a month in this game, or well, €50 in my case, because we are European and as such we pay a premium for being European. But Christmas and normally anniversary is the 2 times a year where I don't really mind like breaking that rule, because you tend to get some pretty good deals, and this year is no different so far. As you can see, I've already bought these two. These 2 packs are exceptionally good value, like exceptionally good value. This one is 7,500 diamonds if you buy both packs, 7,500 diamonds, 60 core tickets, and a bunch of that gold shitty API 14 food, which nobody cares about anymore. Purple boxes are actually better than that now. And it's $30 each. So $30 for 3,700 diamonds, 3,777 to be exact, is already an amazing deal. The fact that on top of that you get 30 core tickets is insane. That is just like really good. You get 7,500 diamonds for for 60% of what it would cost you to get 45 diamonds if you were recharging normally. And then you have the Christmas pack 1, which is basically $5, or if you're European and you pay the premium, something like €5.39, because you know. And you get 577 diamonds for $5, and power food, which is much better than that shitty food they give you here, which is just immense value again. So if you're spending money, these 2 are complete and absolute no-brainers. What else? Lucky bags. Okay, so lucky bags. From a competitive standpoint, if you're someone that's trying to advance and fight for ranking and be in the top 20, the top 10, etc., these are complete bait, right? The only character in here, in these bags, that I might buy anything for is if you're running Maxima and you're still going to run him for a while and you don't have his S-Max. 14k for his weapon is actually really good value. Okay, so the 6k box has fashions, which, you know, it's a discount on the fashion plus another lot of stuff. The food is nice, honestly, I'll say that much. The rest is, you know, whatever. 10 power flakes, 20 keys, nobody cares. And the fashion for 6,666 instead of 8,888. So decent, it's not bad. Power food is what makes this better. Would I buy this? No, I think there's going to be better things to spend your money on coming up. I wouldn't even be surprised if we had more lucky bags, because these only last for 4 days in total. And basically, when those 4 days are up, we're going to get Christmas events up on the 22nd. So yeah, I personally wouldn't touch these. This one, like I said, Maxima weapon might be a good deal. If you're still going to be running for a while, I know quite a few people are still going to be running for like 4 to 6 months, and if you already have one weapon, 14k to get his S-Max is eminently doable. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. Again, the rest of the stuff, it's nice, you know. These are nostalgics, which better value than any normal gem boxes. The Toman badge, pretty nice. Wish this was power food, then it would have been even better, but overall not bad. Now the 17k one, this one, I really was hoping better for this. Cookie, if you pay 18k for Cookie, you better be a massive fan of him. because he's not a good character. He's using an outdated and underpowered nowadays mechanic as his Petrify. He was a mediocre character when he was released in China and Taiwan much earlier than what we got him in global, and we're getting him considerably later here. I just wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't touch him at all. If you want to get him because you're a fan and such, then you know, if you're a fan, you run who you like and do your best for him. But in terms of pure value, he is not good. Terry, depends on your server. I wouldn't get Terry at this stage in the game again. To be honest, I wouldn't get any of these characters if you're trying to compete. It's a little bit late. The best characters in here, I'd say at this point, are Maxima and Extreme Mr. Karate. But we are very likely to get Yashiro next month. So at that point, do you really want to get one of these tanks and build them now? I wouldn't. Yeah, I think this is the worst of the 3 packs, to be honest. The middle one, it has some value. Like the Maxima weapon can be good. Or if you're running one of the characters in this pack for, I don't know, like I said, 4 to 6 months, and 14k is a very good value. Fashion, it's not very expensive if you've been saving up for Christmas, which, you know, there's 2 events you should always save for in this game, Christmas and Anniversary. You should never miss out on them. Fashions are okay. I only recommend getting them if you have a very good stash of diamonds, whether they're in events like this or normal events. But yeah, it's okay. If you want to get like one of these, it's nothing amazing, but it's also not gonna cripple you compared to spending 18k. And yeah, basically, if you're competitive, these 3 are bait. They're here for people who for the whales who play the game like Pokemon and who need to get every character, like Chikiri. And for people who really aren't competing, or who maybe don't have the information they need to make the best decisions. Yeah, these lucky bags are terrible. I hope we get better ones later. Normally we would get like the selectable cosmic peerless marks, or like we did for Anniversary and the Summer Carnival, where we got a random red core and red part for 16k, which is much better than any of these deals. But yeah, no, these are not good. Fighter trial is basically you go in, you fight a shitty team, and the main point is you get a free time limited draw ticket, which, you know, they're nice to stack up. At the end of the day, you can get lucky and pull a boss with them. It's not going to happen for 99% of people, but you will all hate that one person that does get it. Nothing much to it. You just go in there, beat the living shit out of the team. It's absolute garbage if you have any kind of team. Like, they can't even survive ults, so yeah, it's just not good. Yeah, it's basically just death to give you 7 tickets and a few of these snowflakes. By the way, that owned 4460 number, don't pay attention to it. They did the same thing they do every year. They changed the icon, changed the name. So what it's showing there, it's the coins that I've got left from last year. I'm not going to be able to use them in this year's event, guaranteed. Same as every year. And if any of you see you have 12,000 coins or whatever, that's why. All we have really to spend is 100. If you look in your inventory, you will see that you've got 100 coins apart from the other ones with the same icon, and those will be the ones that you can use. What else do we have here? Lucky House. Lucky House, well, event, you know, for every recharge you do, you get, like, for every $2 recharge you do now, you'll get 1 ticket. Later on, it's $3 after 24th or something, and it gives you 1 ticket. Last year when we did this, it was pretty mediocre. I remember a lot of the big whales on the Discord and just general dolphins and, you know, people who were recharging because it was Christmas. Very few people got anything of great value out of this. Some power frags, mostly a lot of snowflakes, but nothing crazy. So if your reason for recharging is this event, don't do it. this is mostly a bonus for anybody who is recharging already. What else do we have? The benefit packs. I bought the first one, the senior cuisine one. I think it was $2, $3. Power food is extremely important nowadays if you're competing. Priority is more important than it ever has been, mostly because it's not just arena now. With our old system of mines, we used to be able to get away with a lot because it was randomized if someone would find you or not and such. Now everybody can see your mines and everybody can attack you, and no joke, 10 more or 10 less priority on your mines teams makes a hell of a lot of a difference. I win matches because of that 10 priority, and I lose matches because of that 10 priority. If you're someone who's going for something that I imagine many people want to go, which is Shermie, Chris, Yashiro, Goenitz and Ignis, all of those characters don't have free food, and if you're waiting for their boxes to update, the last time we got a food update it took nearly 2 years, I think. So I wouldn't trust Fingerfun to update anything in a timely fashion. So yeah, 21 food for $2 or $3, I think it is. Like I said in the Discord earlier today, if they sold me 200 power food for $30, I'd buy it. If they sell me 20 food for $3, I'll buy it. Right? That's just the way it is. This is one of the most important things for me, and it's one of the ways that you can compete with bigger whales than you by having more priority, particularly in mines. You can stack up a really strong team with good priority and people are going to have a lot of trouble beating you. It's not do or die, but for the cost of it, it's worth it in my opinion. Awakening gems, garbage. 1 to 5 8 soul chest, garbage. Unless you specifically want the API 14 power fragments for strikers, then it's okay. Or if you for some reason want to max out G's, Mr. Karate or Instinct's Aid, and you don't have the frags from their event, then maybe those, what are they, 12 frags will make the difference for you. I personally think it's not worth it. 300 diamonds isn't going to break the bank anyway, but it's basically like throwing 300 diamonds down the toilet in my opinion. What else do we have? We have that Christmas surprise card, right? Yeah, this. So this one's pretty good. It's probably going to make me recharge another $50 because it's basically a double recharge with the diamonds it gives you plus the keys. It's got a decent amount of power food, which you already know I have a boner for. And it's got some nice misc stuff like gold and awakening gems, which, you know, they're fine. They're not going to make or break anything, but the thing about this is you shouldn't buy it today and you shouldn't buy it tomorrow. There's a single top up or small recharge or whatever you want to call it. 1 second, let me see, here we go. So yeah, we got a single top up from the 19th to the 21st and another one here from the 21st to the 24th. Now wait for one of these to do your recharges, and which one you want to wait for basically depends on what you want. I expect this one on the 19th to give diamonds. Normally the Christmas and anniversary one give about 2/3 worth of the diamonds you recharge. So if you think you're recharging $50, you're gonna get $22.50 plus about another $22.50 from the actual card itself, plus you'll probably get about 1,800, I think it is, from the small recharge itself, if it does have diamonds. The reason I think this one has diamonds is because the ones that don't normally aren't affiliated with any events, right? There's no events around it. There's no fight souls. There's no cosmic pool event, nothing like that. So the ones that don't have those events associated with them normally give out diamonds, which is why this is the one I'm looking at first, and hopefully it gives diamonds, and then I would do it here. Otherwise, you have this one down here, which, as you can see, comes at the same time as Nest Core Draw and Nest Parts Draw. Now, the thing about this is this one's going to give tickets, right? And it depends on how much you value those tickets. Personally, I do not ever want to pull for cores or parts if I can avoid it. I'd rather spend 16k when we get these big events and we get whatchamacallit, the lucky bags that sell a red core and a red part for 16k diamonds, than to gamble away and trying to get a core or a part, because you will often spend more than 16k diamonds. Like, we have some whales on the Discord, and there are some absolute horror stories in there. So it depends on what you value most, but personally I'd keep my eye on the one on the 19th, and if it has diamonds I'd hit that one up rather than this one. Again, as with everything I'm going to say in this video, for everything, whether it's where to spend, where not to spend, etc., this is based on my opinion, my income, the server I'm in, how my arena works. So I'm going to have certain biases that not everybody is going to have. I'm trying to give advice best as I can in general, but it's always going to be different. Like, if you play in my server, we have a few strong Hotarus, only one verse, and that is it. If you go to play on server 70 plus or 80 plus, you're going to see a lot more Hotarus, a lot more verses and similar characters. So the meta is going to be completely different when we get to that part. Yeah, this is interesting. This section here, by the way, not related to the gift card, because we have Nest Part Draw gift for the first time ever. Now, the core one is absolute garbage. Like, absolute garbage. It's 100% not worth pulling because of that event. If you're going to pull, you pull for other reasons. That's completely shit. I don't know if the part draw will be equally as bad. I've never seen it before, so we will have to wait and see. But it does come for the first time, I think, with an actual spend event. So there's two ways to look at this. I don't know how good this spend event will be. If it's good, it might be worth pulling. But on the other hand, this might be bait, because this is literally the day before the Christmas events start, and we've never had a spend event with these two events. So this could be that's bait.gif material, right? That they just tried to make us drop 20 or 30k here in case they drop something good on the 22nd. They've done that before, so don't be surprised at all. Okay, now we get to what will be probably the highlight of Christmas for many people, which is Orochi Chris. A little bit sad it's not going. It's because they fucked up one of the events and they had his weapon showing on a weapon exchange event, and we were hoping it might be a little bit of foreshadowing, a little bit of an intern needing to get fired, but sadly no, it's Chris, which was what we expected for months, to be honest. Chris. Now, if you're in the Discord, you know I talk a lot of shit about Chris. I don't like the character itself. However, in terms of pure DPS, he is probably the highest DPS you're gonna get for the next 8 months or something like that, until Diamond comes, basically. Diamond has more damage because his skill does similar damage to Chris ult, but also he has a couple of different counters which adds to the damage you can do per round. So let's talk about Chris. When I made a tier list a little while ago, because we were talking in the Discord about this, I had a bunch of characters in A tier, and I had Chris in A- by himself. People ask me why. So the reason he's A-, which is a very small difference but a very important difference, is because depending on your server, and depending on the teams around you, his value is going to go down a bit. So Chris has incredible DPS. He has a tiny little bit of utility in that he cleanses one of your team members, I think, with weapon. But his problem is survivability. Now, when dealing with normal attacks, he's actually pretty tanky, because he's got this pseudo shield, which isn't really a shield. It has none of the benefits and none of the drawbacks, so he can still heal through it, but it also doesn't stop reflect damage, and that's his biggest weakness. So in your server, if you have someone who is running, say, Verse, Hotaru and Shermie in the same team, or Verse, Hotaru, Jeez, or Verse, Jeez, Shermie, right? The issue is, because Chris has an AoE ult, if that person is running Verse and, say, a Thorns set on another character, or the Thorns Fight Soul on someone like Hotaru, Chris will literally go to 1 HP from his ult. And then Shermie, Jeez, Hotaru, Liz in the future, Goro in the future, whoever, is going to counterattack him and kill him round 1. This is something you can already see from a while back in China and Taiwan, where this happens. It's just a question of how much you can disable your opponent with that one ult, how much damage you can do. And in global, his damage is going to be lower, because we are not the kind of whales that you see in the China and Taiwan videos. It's similar to what happened to Mizuchi, where people were expecting him to do 100 million damage when they had a 900k or a 1 million Mizuchi, and China and Taiwan had at that time 4 million Mizuchi, and damage doesn't scale linearly in this game. So yeah, you just can't compare the damage we're going to do to the damage they do, because they have 2-3 more power systems. Some of them are incredibly powerful. They are much bigger whales. They have everything maxed. The ones you see in the videos generally just... I remember one of the Mizuchis that people used to talk about basically had 5-star weapon and maxed out Dark Force in attack, to give you an idea of how crazy he was. And people were expecting to see the same amount of damage as that one was in global, and that's just never going to happen. Not even the biggest whales in global get even remotely close to that. Taiwan was hitting 140 million ults when Clark came out in Taiwan, sorry. I have still to see 100 million damage ult in global from even the biggest whales. Highest I've seen so far is 89 million by a G's, and that's by some margin. The next highest is 84, and then after that it drops down into the 50s. So you need to understand, you first need to set the scene that your Chris, no matter who you are, right, doesn't matter if you're Limbo, doesn't matter if you're VIP 0, doesn't matter if you're Paimon or Mr. T or whatever he's calling himself now, it doesn't matter who you are not going to be seeing the kind of damage that he does in China, because global has more defensive stuff than it has offensive. We have less power systems, and that favors defense. His damage is still going to be exceptional. The only thing you need to be wary about is, like I said, reflect plus counters. So number one thing you want to do to protect Chris is, right now, before anything changes, you want to get him ulting last, right? So if you have Psyche with Storm, if you have Shermie with Storm, whoever it is, you want to try and get all your frontliners and your other 2 backliners, if possible, to just waste the counters from Shermie, waste the counters from Hotaru, so that they can't counter Chris. That way, even if he goes to 1 HP with Reflect, he's not going to die because he has heals, right? He can heal up after that. But if he gets countered, he's going to get killed, and that's the issue. So you need to make sure he is ulting last in your team where possible. I'd say most of the time, Chris can't make very good use of Storm right now, for the same issue I've just mentioned. If he gets reflected and killed, then your Storm is going to waste round 1. And that's just not great. When Yashiro comes, things will change a little bit depending on your team setup. If you can make Yashiro ult round 1 and make him ult before Chris, which is quite doable for people who are playing in competitive ranks, because you're running like Ralph Striker and you're running, I don't know, Psyche, and you're running S-Max Shermie, who's going to feed raids to Yashiro. Then Yashiro is going to be able to take those counters, taking the heat off of Chris and letting me do damage better. However, Shermie S-Max counter, which is an ult, and G's counter, which is also an ult, are still going to get through there. So that's something to keep in mind when building your team, and where you're placing Chris and where he's going to be in the ult order, and what you want to do with his fight soul. Like I said, for most people I wouldn't recommend Storm fight soul on him at this time, because basically what happened to Mizuchi, if you've seen what happened to Mizuchi in cross server arena, which happened a lot, where people had Extreme Mr. Karate and Hotaru in the same team, and he would ult, he would go to like 15 HP, Hotaru would counter, and that's his undying gone, that's his one revive gone, which is the same Chris has. When Chris revives, he gets immunity to reflect for 2 rounds, so then you don't have to worry as much about that until round 4. But then in round 4 again, if he got killed in round 1, or if he got killed in round 2 and round 5, he's going to be at risk of this again. So these are things to keep in mind when building Chris. When we're talking about a glass cannon, Chris isn't exactly a glass cannon, because normally he has some defense, but reflect really messes with him. So keep that in mind. I'd recommend, personally, running something like Kusanagi Fight Soul on him if you have it, because it pairs up really well with him. Unyielding, obviously, Unyielding War God work pretty much on any DPS. Storm, you should only run Storm on Chris if you can guarantee he's not going to get countered and killed. That's a question of testing matches and seeing an arena, and it depends on your server meta and all that. So that's going to be different for me than it's going to be for you, than it's going to be from someone in another server. That's something you're going to have to test and find out. So that's the fight soul. For runes, he's pretty obviously a Wolves user. You want to run Wolves runes because he ults round 1 and they do bonus damage to people who have high HP, and he basically reduced all the res. It just lines up perfectly. He's your classic case of AoE round 1 DPS. They want Wolves runes. There's not much room to mess around with that. Yeah, so that's for Chris. He is going to be a pain for quite a while, a bit like K, but his impact in some servers is going to be much stronger than it will be on other servers, and it all depends on what people are running. If you're running Chris and you can't make Yashiro ult round 1, teams with Verse and Hotaru are going to be your worst nightmare. I'm just telling you that now. Even in Japan, where he has 2 revives instead of 1, he gets the exact same shit. He is going to have massive DPS, but he isn't a brainless character. You need to think about what you're going to do with him. He's going to be exceptionally good for Ultimate Battle, most likely. So that's another thing to keep in mind. S-Max Chris is probably going to take entire teams out in that one. Yeah. So that's Chris. Not much else to say about him. He comes with Bandit, as usual. There's a Fight Soul Wish here, and his draw is on the 24th. Now, we've never had a Christmas without a Carnival. Carnivals are rarely ever in the main list of events, and only rarely on the special event lists. So I expect we're going to get a Carnival starting somewhere around the 22nd. There's also a couple of really weird gaps in here, if you look, right? Like you go here, 18th, 19th, and then there's no new events on the 20th. So it could also fall there, I'm not sure. But I expect a Carnival starting somewhere between the 20th and the 23rd at the latest. maybe the 24th, maybe it starts with Chris draw, I don't know. But don't pull for Chris until you see if we've got that carnival or not, because it's going to have a spend event with it, like a spend task like every carnival does, and that's basically free rebates for you. And if everything goes well, that carnival should run all the way through this Fight Soul Wish here. So if it's like last Christmas and you're well prepared, it's definitely worth to max out that spend event, because it's got quite good rebate, and you can get Chris with that rebate, you can get the Fight Soul with that rebate, you can get Chris and this spend for rewards event. So if the carnival runs to here, that's going to be a double spend event. This sadly is a Fight Soul spend event. Well, sadly, you're going to get Fight Soul books, so it's good. But if it was a normal weapon draw, it would mean we'd get some more diamonds back, and we'd get some weapon frags and stuff like that. But yeah, if Carnival runs through, last year we had this exact same setup, and Carnival and Spend task ran all the way through from the draw through the very same weapon, fashion and Fight Soul event. We had the exact same thing, and these three ended up with a double spend event. So before you pull for Chris, make sure to see if Carnival has happened, make sure to see if the spend task has started, have a look at the events that will be released on the 22nd. I'll probably do another video to talk about that then. But just be aware of how you're spending your diamonds, and keep checking these events, because there's a lot of stuff going on these days, and there's going to be more stuff going on the 22nd. We've had some stuff data mined, which looks like stuff we had last year. Where is it? Here. This down here, roulette, 100% win the price. Looks like the roulette we had last year, which had a free red rune. If you finish the entire roulette, you got a red rune, a tome, a badge, a red chip, all selectable, and you got Athena's fashion. So there could be some really good stuff in here, so stuff to keep in mind. We also have this green screen here. Where is it? What is the green screen? Am I blind or am I dumb? Or am I both? Quite likely both. Okay, so there should be a green screen here, which for some reason, here we go, this. Last year, if you remember, this was Kukri's screen. Not Kukri's, Dualon, sorry. Where it had stuff hanging down, and it gave you, not only his, but it had other stuff too. It had tasks to do, and it gave you rewards. So we also have this, which is something to keep in mind before going out and building any characters and stuff like that. Wait till you see these events first before you spend resources, because you might be able to get bonus stuff out of it. Yeah. There's a couple of events I don't recognize. Ice Crush is a game that's been in Asia already. It was in, I can't remember. I was talking to someone on Discord earlier with Escalax, and he was saying it was Japan. I think I've seen it, so I think it was Southeast Asia region when I used to play there. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's a mini game. I think, if I remember right, this is something kind of like Pong or something like that. Yeah, so keep in mind these things before you go spending any resources, right? I don't know what this one is. This is new. Because you might be able to basically get 2 or 3 things done at once with the same resources that you might spend otherwise with getting nothing. Also, as you can see, Extreme KOF Battle Pass. This is something that's been in Taiwan for a long time. I don't think ours will be like theirs. It basically is the same as our Battle Pass, but it gets an extra tier. It costs another extra $15. But in Taiwan, they don't get the free 1 or 4 chests we get in Advanced Battle Pass at level 61. They get that fashion and the weapon for the character that's added that month. And then you get some stuff like promotion materials and shit like that for an extra $15. The way it is in Taiwan, it's 100% not worth it. Global Battle Pass is already better than Taiwan Battle Pass, so I expect they'll improve this as well. So keep an eye out. This will probably come in January or February. Yeah, so this is pretty much what we have for now. Stuff to keep in mind, just be mindful of how you spend your resources. Be mindful of how you build and set up Chris. Just be careful, basically. And keep in mind that things like those lucky bags may very well be bait for us to spend. We're also getting Nakoruru. They added her sprites in game not long ago. And I imagine she will come in something like Carnival. Or maybe... yeah, maybe on the spend event on the Carnival, which was what Do-Along came last year. Like if you spent 20k, you got Do-Along. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, anyway, hopefully this will help some of you. If you have any questions, leave them below. Make sure to get these Shibas, however you have to get them, because that's just too good to leave. And I'll see you guys in the next one, probably on the 22nd. Have a good one. Merry Christmas, guys.